And welcome back. We are here after maybe a day late, but we are off right after the Australian Grand Prix, which was a interesting and lovely battle today. I got two new co-hosts on board. First, we got Nash. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Can't complain ever. As well as our resident race car driver, Swizz. How you doing?
Yes, hello, hi. I'm doing great. Thank you kindly.
That's lovely, lovely. Right. Quick thing I want to go through is the race results because damn, this race was fun and entertaining. Going with a quick fire P14, we had Ollie Behrman. P13, Esteban Ocon. P12, Yuki Tsunoda. P11, Pierre Gasly. P10, Lewis Hamilton. P9, Oscar Piastri. P8, Charles Leclerc. P7, Nico Hulkenberg. P6, Lance Stroll. P5, Alex Albon. P4, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. P3, George Russell. P2, Max Verstappen. And P1, Lando Norris.
Yep. With that, we also had some very interesting DNFs. Our first DNF was Isaac Hadjar. Then we had Jack Doohan. We had Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Gabriel Bortoleto, and finally Liam Lawson. Oof. One of my favorite things I love to say is something Bernie Ecclestone used to say. If you want some excitement in Formula One, turn on the sprinklers. And boy, did they turn on the sprinklers.
I have to agree, though. Those pockets of wet rain that poured down, especially near the end. Oh, it brought Australia to life. I couldn't believe how messy is the word I want to use that whole race got just because of a little bit of wet weather.
And it
Like,
started from the beginning. From the onset, Isaac Hadjar didn't even make the formation lap, crashing literally at the start. It's the worst debut you want to have. You don't want that to happen. And with the kind of pressure in the Red Bull system, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
bro, it's worse because if did you guys hear Helmut Marko's comments on
He
Isaac?
said it was embarrassing.
Bro, like, this is the guy who handpicked you, and now he's just criticizing everything you do. Fair enough, it kinda is his job, but ah,
I mean, I feel for
Yeah.
the guy too, man. I really do. Like all that pressure and one little slip up. There's a lot of rookies in this lineup this year, so you kind of have to put your best foot forward because there are people lining up to replace you, and we all know that the Red Bull garage is no stranger to giving you the boot whenever they feel like it.
yeah, no, they really aren't. And with how ruthless it is, Isaac, I feel for you. But on a good, I want to call it like a good or better note, is that how often do you, as a rookie, get consulted and talked to by Lewis Hamilton's father, like Anthony Hamilton himself, went out of his way to go find Isaac Hedger and was like, "Look, hey, these things happen. You can't beat yourself up too much about it." But that I thought was special.
I agree. I think that was special. I still think that it's a really unfortunate situation to be in if you're Isaac Hadjar, because I'm not certain if he was the first pick out of the rookies, because Red Bull have got so many academy products. I mean, Ayahuasca is one of them. He's racing in Super Formula right now, and it's just one call and you can be replaced. So yeah, it's a really rough one for Hadjar, and the comments from Helmut don't help, especially the fact that Helmut's the one that actually signed him. So yeah, I think I think this season is going to be very interesting for all of the rookies because they have a lot of pressure on them, especially the next person that crashed, which is Jack Doohan. Didn't have enough in to keep it on track, and he just completely bent it. And it's another one of those situations of, I wish he had a longer running so he could have at least learned something. But no, it's just an unfortunate thing. It's Jack doing P19 also crashing, another rookie crashing.
So it's almost like the rookies weren't prepared. They didn't get the memo that it's gonna be a wet race for Australia. I fear for Jack though, because we already saw the shenanigans in the off season. They signed Jack, and then like a few weeks later, they're like, "Yeah, Carlo Pinto's here to replace you," and it's like, wait, what was the point of signing Jack if you're not going to trust and believe in him? And now this crash happens, and who not sure about Alpine and how they're gonna feel about Jack's performance now. I mean, he got at least he went further than Isaac. You know, he got to like after turn five, yeah, there's like turn 5, so he managed to get there. So, but he's gonna have to hope for China to be a better result than what he got this time around.
Look, I mean, you're saying that he made it further than Hadjar. How low is this bar that we're setting right now?
Well, look, they're already rookies, so I mean, like
We're
the bars on the floor.
We're approaching window liquor territories of not making it to the start line.
Yes, and the unfortunate reality is one of them didn't make it to the start line, so we actually have something to compare it to. That's the unfortunate reality of this race.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at what, 5 years in the sport, or 8 years in the sport? Look, he's also set the bar very, very low.
Yes.
But still, 8 years in the sport versus the couple months.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's only had essentially the Bahrain testing, the testing that they had at Silverstone. If all of them participated in that, then it's Bahrain. Then you're doing free practice, and then you stuck into these mixed conditions and wetness on a racetrack that you're somewhat unfamiliar with. Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster for some of these rookies, and unfortunately, the ones that have the pressure on them, Isaac Hadjar and Jack Doohan being the main two that have a lot of pressure on them, they are the ones that binned it before even finishing a full lap. So it's not a good look for them.
Absolutely, and man, it's the worst way to start the season with a straight DNF. I mean, it's basically a DNS, bro. They did not even start this race. I mean,
No, unfortunately, they did start this race, and they cost their team a lot of money because they crashed the cars. And it's a short turnaround. China is next week. It is just, oh, dude, it's bad. It's actually really bad when you think about it, because now the teams have to repair those cars. Already we're on stringent budgets. Panic is going to start setting in for. I hope that they're able to bounce back very quickly and have a quick reset, but they have to now not make a mistake in China, which is a lot, because it's a brand new track for all of them. They've never driven on it, especially the rookies, and in new cars, China oftentimes have mixed conditions. Where it's located, it tends to rain a lot. Yeah, it just makes me feel a bit nervous.
yeah, no, I have to agree. And you know what's funny is like we're talking about the rookies binning it here, but Carlos Sainz was the next guy who also binned it. So I don't know. Is it just rookies, or is it even experienced drivers are getting caught out by this rain? You know.
Well, the example I'd like to say is that Carlos Sainz is new to his car, so he's not a rookie, but he's new in Williams. The difference is that Carlos is one of those drivers that's been in multiple teams. He's been at Toro Rosso, he's been at Renault, he's been at McLaren, he's been at Ferrari, and now Williams. He should. He's the guy you expect to be able to adapt and adjust to a car quickly, and it seemed as though he did because he had a really good quali session. But unfortunately, it to me it looked like something happened. Like there was a lot more power than he was that, like there was a power spike that he wasn't expecting, and maybe a combination of being on one of those slippery paint markers on the road caused him to put the car on a wall. But the unfortunate reality is Carlos Sainz and Williams can't afford that.
Not in the slightest, especially with like China being right after. Like you
Mm-hmm.
gotta now ship parts from like the UK to China and hope that it's there on time. Like you gotta use express delivery, plane, everything just to get your spare parts to China ready for for the race, which was it's tight work because even the mechanics, right? They gotta fly out, get there, wait for the car to arrive, then build the car, and then hope they're ready for practice one by the time. Look, I know these engineers, they're fantastic when it comes to building a car, especially with like hot piping oil. I don't know if you guys have ever touched or have done an oil change yourselves. Like, hot oil hurts.
Yes.
That's nothing to play with at all. So
Yeah.
I think the mechanics for I think all the teams, they'll be able to get the cars up and running for China, whether they are the same car, like Theseus ship, whether it's the same car they started with. I don't know if it's still gonna be the same thing.
I think the major benefit is that all the teams don't have to work on multiple cars. It's just one car. So it's just one RB, one Alpine, one Williams. And then the next driver, the oldest driver on the track, Fernando Alonso, who also happened to bin it. Yeah, that one to me was also a bit of a shock. Seeing him crash in the wet, it's not a thing that I'm used to Alonso doing. So it really goes to show the changing conditions that took place at Albert Park. So a little bit of credence. Some of the rookies can look at that and say, that's a two-time world champion. So I didn't do too badly, except Jack and Hadjar. I don't think they can say that, but yeah. I mean, it was generally a race of attrition.
Absolutely. I think for Fernando, I rewatched the crash, right? And then also, if you looked at the post-race interview, he even said it himself. He didn't go on any other line. It was the same line he's been using for the past 31 laps, and then he just got some unexpected gravel on the curb there at turn 6. So somebody went into the gravel, pulled some gravel onto the curb, and just that gravel was like a little too slick for his tires, which sent him flying. And it's nothing you ever expect out of a world champion. Like, someone, especially like Fernando, he was making jokes early in the press conferences, being like, yeah, they asked him, how do you feel to be racing with drivers who were born in 2005 and this? And he's like, oh, I got a big advantage over them. I've got experience, and he's driven the track multiple times. And then just to see him end up crashing, I thought that was a little humorous after he said it.
Yes. Yeah, that is quite humorous, no lie.
So yeah, Fernando, that one is still a mystery. I think the gravel played a part into it, but that's not something I expect out of a world champion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you totally. I mean, as someone who I didn't expect to crash, especially as far as he made it into the race with Bortoleto, 37 laps into the race, and then just to catch the gravel, catch a bit of it seems as though wet patch, and then taking the car out. Just an unfortunate situation for him. And then Liam Lawson also taking himself out essentially, all by his lonesome. It's unfortunate. Liam didn't need it. Gabriel can kind of get away with it because he had been really good and really consistent, and the unfortunate thing is he might have finished really well if he was able to continue in the race. But yeah, it's just a really unfortunate situation for them. But Liam Lawson, that one was a bit of a travesty in my opinion.
Liam, I think, not so much for me, purely because he played the wrong strategy, right? He got left out in the slicks, and yeah, what do you expect? Like, it's raining, it's pouring down, so I think it's a problem of Red Bull. They put him in the horrible position, and he ultimately succumbed to aquaplaning and just went straight off. There was absolutely nothing he could do. For me, the Gabriel Bortoleto one is a lot crazier. That crash, I don't know if you guys saw, but like, after he spun around, right, he was still on the track, but that rear right just broke. Like, his whole suspension was just like, yeah, no, we're gonna
Yeah,
be the
that
deck
looked
chair and fold under pressure, just bam.
absolutely. That looked so weird from my angle as well, because
So
it just looked like the wheel snapped, and then he was a passenger after that.
Yeah, because I thought I was like, oh look, he spun, right? But he can still move, right? He can still drive because he was perfectly in the middle of like the runoff area, and I was like, cool. I was like, you can go into the pits, it's right there, change your front wing, and then I saw the replay, and it was like, oh, that rear tire is gone. Like we're not,
Yep.
you're not seeing that tire again. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a bit unfortunate for him, especially beginning races. The rookies, they don't seem to have a good track record as it stands right now.
Yeah. I mean, all of the rookies crashed except Kimi Antonelli and Ollie Berman.
I mean, he almost crashed. If there was no runoff,
Hey,
he
hey,
would have
hey,
crashed.
hey.
He
Did
would
he
have
crash?
crashed.
Did he crash? But did he crash?
Almost.
But did he crash?
Almost, yes. Maybe, no.
Did he crash? No, but did he crash?
No,
Did
but he
crash?
spun. Like,
Yeah, he recovered like a champion. I actually think Kimi had a brilliant race. I mean, finishing P5 was really impressive on your
P4.
debut.
P4. Yeah.
Is it officially P4?
Yep.
Yep.
Officially P4.
Okay, all right. Because I remember there was the whole 5 second penalty for impeding, or was it
Not speeding,
or
it
was it pit
was,
lane violation?
yes, the unsafe release.
Okay, so that was reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours after the race they reversed it.
Fantastic. Well done for Kimi. All right. Well, finishing P4 is even better.
Yeah.
It's just off the podium. Just off the podium. But yeah, impressive race from him. Managed himself well in the wet. Really consistent. Showed a lot of great quality. I was super excited to see it. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Someone who's not happy, still go on the rookies, is Ollie. Like, oh boy, that horse is slow. I
That,
thought,
that horse reminds me a lot about the LP in early last year.
mm-hmm,
Yes.
It's a trash can, dude.
Yes.
a tractor. Like, that's all it's good for at this point. Maybe mowing the lawn. It's a bit expensive for a lawnmower, but like, shoo, I couldn't believe that he didn't
What
even
do we
manage to catch his teammate.
Yeah, what do we expect from Gene? Because he literally said at the beginning of the season, I'm not putting any more money into the team, but I want the team to be as competitive or more competitive. I expect them to do better next season. How? Through wishful thinking, rubbing your hands together and clicking your heels 3 times. This is Formula One, not a pipe dream.
I do agree. Remember, the current team principal didn't say that Haas has finally hit the cost cap and they have the budget to actually start doing things. It's now about where do they put that money. And as it stands, whatever they did for like last year into this year's car, they've wasted their money. Like, damn. This car was, I mean, look at Ocon was, after all the shenanigans, that still 33 seconds behind. What's it called? Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki had enough to do a whole pit stop and then some.
I mean, Ollie was lapped and then unlapped and lapped and
Yeah, it's a very rough thing to see because I don't like seeing Ollie do badly. But again, it's in the Haas, and every time, and this is a cyclical thing for Haas. One season they'll be good, one season they'll be terrible. One season they'll be good, one season they'll be terrible. Then 3 seasons they'll be terrible. Then one season they'll be good, and then we'll be back to terrible again. And to think that this season we're looking at them and going, oh, okay, they're actually worse than the Steak, Sauber, Kick, MoneyGrams, st- money thieves
You know, that sounds about
F1
right.
team. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
green screen, yes.
yeah, all of that, all of the acronyms. But I mean, it's really atrocious from them because they were competing in the midfield last season, and now they seem to have swapped places with Steak, Sauber,
Yeah.
Green Team.
Uh, uh, I don't know. I feel like I fear for Ollie because here's the problem. Charles isn't leaving anytime soon, right? Lewis at least once in on the 2026 project at Ferrari. So, like, there's no space at the moment for Ollie at a top tier team. because we've already seen what Ollie was able to do in that Ferrari, right? We know this, but there's no better team. You know, McLaren is secured; they're not changing their drivers.
Oscar just signed an extension.
Yeah, right. Mercedes, maybe they drop Kimi, but I highly doubt when Toto's just been hyping Kimi up for so long. So I
Yeah,
doubt.
I genuinely think they'll hold on to Kimi until it comes right. They're more likely to drop George than they are to drop Kimi.
Yeah, and they're not gonna drop George just for anyone. They're gonna drop George for Max Verstappen, straight up. Like,
Yes. And if Max is available, that's what you do. But if not, you stick with George because he put it on the podium.
yeah, he's doing the work. So there's nothing you can really do there. Um, Ferrari is Charles and Lewis, so you're not going there. Red
Yeah,
Bull,
Ferrari.
though,
Yeah,
Red Bull's gonna kill your career.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, speaking of Ferrari, Ferrari made a gamble in this race with leaving Hamilton and Leclerc out on the slicks, and it started to throw buckets of water onto the track, and it just didn't work out for them. But since when do Ferrari strategies ever work out?
Hey, the clown fest continues. I can't. I honestly can't wait. Ferrari made my day with their shenanigans because I mean Charles is. I think there's something leaking in the car. It's like yeah, it's the water. It's like wise words.
Wise words, hey? Wise words. They should be put into the book of all the wise words, bruh. Maybe it's water. Oh, dude, that is what I said. I just said that. Imagine being Charles in that situation, bruh,
Bro.
and not losing your mind. Just what am I doing here?
Bro, I swear, Charles turned off the mic and he started swearing. Like if his mic was open, he was the first one to
Bruh.
get that new penalty. He was just gonna be like, "You stupid." Yeah, and but I think it goes for both Ferrari engineers because it's just like, oh damn, Lewis's engineers, yeah, press K1, bro, K1, and Lewis is like, bro, let me chill. Like, what am I gonna press K1 for?
My favorite thing about this whole race was Lewis got the full Ferrari experience on race day. The full Ferrari experience, from random comments about how they should drive to blundered strategies to strategy calls that don't make sense to speaking to the driver when they really don't need to. And it was just absolutely sensational, just an all-round perfect Ferrari experience.
I would say it was almost perfect. He didn't get the blundered pit stop. That's the only thing
Yes.
he didn't get. Like if he got a 5 second pit stop, I would have been like, "Yep, that's welcome to Ferrari. They gave you the best welcoming package you could ever hope for." So, someone else I wanted to talk about was the McLaren boys because they had some fun. I mean, most of the race. I'll come to you now.
I don't even
Driver has
need
spoken.
I don't even need a soundboard to make this noise anymore, bro.
Hey, look, you can be happy that the pace is still there in the cars. It's just
Yes.
papaya rules. Papaya rules,
What
you know?
what papaya rules?
They love Lando.
Please explain to me what papaya rules is nowadays.
Okay, so from my understanding, I'm gonna look at it from what I have been informed on. Apparently, at the time that Oscar was rapidly catching Lando and was about to make an attempt at an overtake, there was strategy decisions that needed to be made. I actually genuinely don't like it because it vexed me so much because it's like, oh, Oscar's coming. Oscar's driving quickly. Oscar's faster than Lando. Let them fight. And they didn't let them fight.
I'm just mad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that papaya rules. My papaya rules, this is how I understand it, is we love Lando, we don't like Oscar. That's the blatant simple part of like, yeah, we like Lando, we're not gonna let Oscar fight him. And
Protest.
we're gonna just turn a blind eye to Oscar And I think for McLaren, I'm pretty sure Zach Brown was just like a big whew once Oscar sent it off the gravel. Um, and then he slightly panicked when he saw George. Lando did the same thing.
Yep.
I honestly believe they were both McLarens were busy playing follow the leader, and then Lando went off, and Oscar was like, "Hey, wait! I can beat that."
How about me too? I can do better. Look this. Ah, crap! I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
And I'm beached, and it's just like, oh,
He did
Yeah.
really, really well to get the car back on the road, though.
Yeah, I genuinely thought, oh, okay, that's it. Race over for Oscar. Managed to actually get back on track, get back into the points. He was very aggressive trying to get back into the points as well. He took off Lewis's part of Lewis's front wing, the end plate. So yeah, I mean, look, he binned it at that point, but I want to say earlier on there was an opportunity to let the two drivers race, and I don't like the fact that they papaya ruled right there and then, because then when they said no, you can race again, he was now 2 seconds behind, and I was like, what was the point? Because
Yeah,
it just felt like you did that on purpose.
yeah. I think that's the part that pissed me off the most, because I was like, it took me like a minute to get over the fact that they're like, no, don't race him, don't overtake him, don't ruin this race for everyone. And then like once I got over that, he dropped back like 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds, and they're like, you know what, actually, go do it again. And I'm just like, no, dude. If I had to hear that, I'd have been like, screw this. Yeah, where's Verstappen? Come, you want P2? You want to set on the other step? Come.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, for him to actually have, because he had to race Max, overtake Max, beat Max, then chase down Lando, and then to have the, because it's literally like, you know, when you're running down a hill and everything is going great, and then you like trip on a rock that you didn't see, and then now you're tumbling. That's literally what they did to him. It's like, how am I supposed to correct now? Because you've literally just destroyed all the excitement and everything about this. Why are we here if we're not going to race?
They did so much more damage in that one radio call than
Yep.
they could have possibly imagined. Because
Hmm.
I think both of them possibly would have gone off, but I really don't think that was a viable thing that could have happened if Oscar was in front. Because one, they would have been both of them would have been pushing less because the gap to Verstappen was ridiculous at that point. Like
Yeah.
Piastri had dropped Verstappen like I think it was 6 seconds back or 5 seconds back. So it would have been that wouldn't have been a problem until safety cars came out, whatever the case is. But we'll get to that later. Two, it's his home race. He had the pace. He was the
Yeah.
faster McLaren. Why not just be like, you know what? Go race, keep it clean, don't crash into each other. We still want the 1-2. No, get in your driver's head, make him overthink things, piss him off, and then what happens? You've lost your 1-2.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
No, not even a little bit.
I agree. It was a really pointless move to make, um, especially from the fact that we saw in practice, we saw in quali, right? That every other team is struggling with overheating the rears and the tires, right? By the time they get to that last sector, tires are almost dead, right? They have to spend a lot of the other part of the lap cooling them down, getting them. Like, how many times did we see Max just dip his front left into the puddles just to try cool down those tires? So
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, you're the only two that can actually fight each other on like equal terms, and you're like, nah, you know what? I don't think you guys should do this. Which I feel like they should be fined for unsportsmanlike conduct. That's my own opinion. Like,
Plus one.
damn. Because I mean, now if we look at the constructors, right? Um,
That's exactly what I was thinking, because Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes are both on 27 points, and it wouldn't have been that close if they had just maintained the 1-2. Let the drivers race, because I genuinely feel like part of the reason Oscar wasn't able to correct it effectively is because he was still seething.
Yep.
Yeah, as you should have been.
Yep.
Like, how does he have to trust his team now? Like, he's like getting this information. Oh, it's gonna be pouring buckets soon, right? And he's like, alright, cool. Like, he's at the point of like, screw you guys, bro. Like, I was there. I could have gotten ahead. We would have still been here. And now it's like, oh, um, we should switch over to wet tires. And it's like, I don't know if I want to like follow what you guys are saying or whatever. Because do they even have his best interest? Like, I think the meeting, like today's meeting, that debrief, whew, Oscar must
Would
be
have loved to be a fly on that wall.
Would have loved,
like,
absolutely loved to have been there.
Drive to Survive. There's a hint for you guys. Like, just mic up somebody and send them into that room. Like, even if it's just you put on random like Coco Melon on screen and we just hear the freaking audio. That's all we need to hear.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about teams, can we call the season here? Because Kick, Sauber, Alpha, whatever they're called now, is ahead of
Yes.
Ferrari.
Yes, they are.
Nico Hulkenberg was like, "Yeah, where's that backpack? Gimme. And let's go racing."
Bruh. Nico's always out here just carrying teams, bruh. That's what he does.
Bro. Like, what did you say? They outscored themselves in the whole of like last year already.
Yeah, so
in one.
last year Kick Sauber ended with 4 points. They currently have 6.
Wow. And it's just race one.
Yeah, and I
Haas-
think it's the same
Haas-
with Williams as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, Haas is ruining the day they let Nico walk.
absolutely. But also, Alex, once again, he's back at it, bro. He's carrying the weight of Williams on his back. Like, fair enough, we didn't see a lot of Alex, but Alex was defending from Lewis like a absolute champ.
Yep.
For the whole race. And I'm just saying, Alex better than Lewis, maybe. Huh?
No.
that car's looking fantastic. I think give Lewis some time to get to the grips of what that car is and the dynamic of his steering wheel and the things his race engineer are telling him, and then he might be a little bit more competitive. Because I really don't think we saw what Lewis is capable of in this race.
I agree. I agree with that.
Not in the
I
slightest.
do want to move on to an important thing. We do have to give flowers to the person that lost very effectively, and that's the reigning defending world champion, Max Verstappen P2, in a race where you genuinely didn't feel like Max was going to even make it to the podium potentially, but he just does it again. He just keeps doing it.
You can't cut him out. That's just
You can't.
that's just what everyone needs to understand. Give him the shit car. He's going to do the best that he can with it. Last year is the prime example of that. He didn't have the fastest car on the grid for majority of the year. He also didn't have a teammate for majority of the year. Actually, any of the year, to be honest. But he made do. He put it where it needed to be, and he's doing the exact same thing this year.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah, solid drive from Max. I mean, yeah. What is there to say? What more is there to say? It's an interesting thing that Felipe Dragovic said. It's how you lose that's important in a championship, and losing and getting a P2 is the best way to lose. Because if you just consistently do that, he could find himself still in the title fight, even with the car that's not even. I think the Red Bull is like the third or fourth fastest car on the grid, and he's still managing this.
Who would you
Max is
put
still the
second?
fastest driver.
Yeah,
Who would you put second in then the second fastest team?
the fastest team is McLaren. The second fastest team, I would say, is probably. I would say it's Ferrari, based on what we saw in both in practice and in testing. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I also still think that the Mercedes is potentially slightly faster. But again, it's Max Verstappen in the car that's making it quick.
I
Because
think
they would.
when yeah, sorry. When you have to
No,
answer
go
that
ahead, no,
question,
please.
when you have to answer that question, you have to be politically correct. So it's McLaren is by far, no arguments, the fastest car. Max
Yeah.
Verstappen is then the next fastest car.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's
Whatever
the be all
car
and end
Max
all of
is
it.
in.
Max
Then-
is
Yeah,
the second fastest car on the grid.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
for me,
That is actually a fact.
yeah, I can't argue against that. The second fastest team, though, because there are two drivers still, I would put to Mercedes. I have no faith in this Ferrari. I think, like, I understand, like, Lewis is having some teething pains in this, but it's like he's getting a whole lot more leniency than some of the rookies are, right? Everyone's like, oh no, Lewis is still trying to figure out where the buttons and all of this are. Science is also doing the same thing.
Yeah, bro, you're a 7 1/4 world champion. Like, you should be able to do better than this.
Yeah, you.
No, I will agree with you, but I will also say that even Michael Schumacher also had issues the first time he drove in every car he's driven. So let's give people some a little bit of leeway. Also, he's a 7-time world champion. He's earned the leeway.
That's fair. For now.
For now, I give him
It's
until
not
the third
infinite,
race.
but it is he does have some leeway for now.
For me, I'm like, I give you until the third race, right? Because that's like, you've had the whole of like testing, plus now first month going into the second month of driving with the team, being on the sim, all of that. You've got 3 months to adapt, you know. Some jobs, they don't even give you 3 months, you know. You just get a month, 30 days to prove yourself, and you might just be out. So, I don't know. This Ferrari for this year doesn't inspire me at all. I do think they will still end up, like, at least in the top four. Aston Martin will be the comfort fifth place.
I don't think Aston's safe.
I have
don't think
faith
Aston's
in
safe.
Williams to put it in that
Me
P5
too.
spot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I have more faith in Williams to put it in their P5 than I do Aston.
Oh, sorry. It's not Aston. Fernando Alonso. That's who we should be saying. To put it into the P5.
Somehow, Leclerc put it in P6.
yes.
I have no
I
fucking
would
clue.
agree, except the fact that it's Albon and Sainz versus just Alonso. So yeah, I still put the Williams ahead.
Look, that's why I want to see China, right? We kind of have an idea of where each team roughly stands, because before the crash of Fernando to bring out that safety car, I think that is the actual standings of where each car is in, like, race trim. So that would be 1, 2 McLaren, 3 being Max, 4 being George Russell. Obviously, Kimi wasn't there where he should have been, so I think Kimi should be somewhere alongside George, just after George. And then after that, it's the two Ferraris, which I honestly think they can be really close to Mercedes. And what's that? That's the top 6 positions taken. The rest, I can see Williams fighting Aston Martin for that. Oh, sorry, Fernando Alonso for those positions the whole way through this year. I'm more interested in seeing what is Williams' development plan looking like, because, like, in which year was it? I think it was the start of the 2022, the new ground effect rules. We saw Aston Martin was, like, so fast. They were actually competitive. They could try fight for wins. By the 6th race, they no longer had upgrades that could help them, and they went in the wrong direction. So
I think that's based on bad parts and bad execution of a development plan, rather than Aston not trying to develop, because they kept bringing new things to the car. It just kept making the car worse.
yeah, and so we shall see. I have faith in the duo. All right, that duo will bring glory to Williams' name, and it will be an interesting fight to see them fight for P5 and 6. I do think P6 is guaranteed this year for Williams.
Four.
For Williams, P6 guaranteed. P5, we have to see how well Fernando Alonso does this year.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
Ah, the man, the myth.
The future world champion. I said this and you didn't believe me, but I told you. I think the boy has learned a whole lot from Mr. Max Verstappen and from the previous season where he almost could have been competing for the championship. Right now, the boy looks like he's got everything firing on all cylinders. Mr. P1 himself, Lando Norris.
I kind of agree with you. I think if they are the cylinders firing, there's still one big misfire, and that's this papaya rules. I'll give it to Lando. Brilliant drive. He almost did a faultless drive, except for those huge mistakes where he went off at the last few corners. And I think
so what?
I think if Max had a faster car, that one mistake would have cost Lando the whole race win.
Yeah, but if Max's mom had balls, they'd be his dad.
I mean, that is true. That is true, but there's still a whole season. There's still a whole season, you know. Let's see what happens. You know, you never know. Just now, Mercedes or Ferrari come out of the woodworks with a mega package and just start hunting McLaren. And we could see a potential world champion out of George Russell or Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc. You never know.
I mean, look, the Charles Leclerc thing is a bit of a stretch in my opinion, but from what I saw from Lando in the race, he looked so calm and collected. He sounded calm and collected on the radio. He just had everything felt right. So yeah, I am maybe riding the papaya train a little too early, but it's exciting. It's exciting to see.
All I'm saying is, I want to hear all of that again if Piastri contested Lando, because most of that race, Lando had nobody fighting him for a position. The only time he had someone fighting him was into turn one, and then it was just he led the race. Fair enough, I'll give him his flowers, because leading the race and staying in first while weather conditions are changing in those tricky conditions is a feat in itself, which is so excellent and wonderful from Lando. But now we need to add on the pressure of somebody attacking.
Okay, a point I want to make. Lando had to deal with 3 restarts, dealt with them flawlessly. Lando, last season, the one thing that we all said is a glaring issue from Lando is his starts. Not having solid starts. What did he do this race? Solid start. Defended exactly when he was supposed to and when he needed to. Otherwise, Max would have shot up the outside and would have made that overtake on the opening lap. So I will say Lando is from what I'm looking at, all the areas that I said he needs to fix these. He's addressed all of them so far, and that will lead him in good stead to fight for the championship. Now, do I think he's going to win? Yes. Maybe that's a bit of bias, but I think having the quickest car, and I just have a certain level of belief right now. But that's maybe just a little bit of hype, and maybe a little delirious of counting out Max Verstappen.
I do agree. He's had enough time to work on the thing that he needed to work on. And the end of last year kind of showed that he is learning, he is growing, he's getting hungry. This race showed all of it. It showed the work that's been put in. It showed the drive of a potential champion. There were mistakes, of course. It's not like we haven't seen Verstappen make mistakes. But you know, it's still very, very early in the season. But if it carries on like this, I 100% agree. Like that looks like an unstoppable force. That's got some stuff going for it.
Yeah, no, I agree on the unstoppable force. I'm just gonna say,
that Max is the immovable object.
Yes, because here's the thing: is that I think Max didn't go for that dive purely because one, it's wet weather, right? That's a whole trick in of itself. Had it been slicks and dry weather, I think Max would have gone for the move, and it would have been a bigger battle between him and Lando. So, here's to hoping China is a dry race, so that we can actually see some slick tire racing, and we can see. Okay, China is also tricky. Let's not get that wrong, and it's gonna be a very interesting China battle. I expect Williams also to be fast, but let's see. Let's see. I'm still not sold yet on Lando. I think somehow, somewhere, something's gonna swing this championship around, and who knows? Maybe Oscar could be world champion. I don't know.
I mean, we'd love to see it, right? You'd love
I'm
Absolutely.
to
not gonna lie,
see,
love to see it.
yeah, you'd love to see anything spice things up.
Yeah.
I'm still a I'm not gonna say I'm a fanboy anymore just because of how Verstappen has acted in the last 2 years. Like there are times where, like Brazil, that's my boy. Like in the
Oh
wet,
yeah.
that Brazil race from P17,
Oh
that
yeah.
that race, there was no none of the Red Bull Ring shenaniganry. Like
Mm.
you're the faster driver, act like it, show it. Don't go do dumb stuff and go drive into people just because you think you own the line. So like
Yep.
I still support Verstappen. But that being said, the McLarens have a package, dude, and they have two very quick drivers. So I'm
Exactly.
hoping it's gonna be a very exciting year.
Yeah,
I mean, if this race was a marker of what this year has to come, it is going to be one hell of a year.
I agree. Here's final thoughts here. What do you guys think of this season? Everyone's saying that this is probably going to be one of the best seasons of F1 we've ever had. I mean, if we think about it, 2021, I think was probably still one of the greatest seasons we've gotten in recent times. If you were to compare it to 2021, what do you think? Like, this is just looking ahead. If this race is anything to be used as.
I think so, personally,
I
because
think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, my apologies.
sorry. Because yes, it was wet, which means you get to see how people are able to adapt to what's going on in their surroundings. Liam Lawson put in the second fastest lap of the day. Gabriel Bortoleto put in the fifth fastest lap of the day. Like, these rookies have some pace, which is scary, but really good in probably the worst conditions that we could have had for the opening race. But in terms of the best for a spectator sport. Right? Liam Lawson was faster than Verstappen. Norris obviously got the fastest lap of the day. But you have Bortoleto in fifth. Yuki Tsunoda put in the sixth fastest lap. Alexander Albon, 8. Kimi Antonelli, 9. You know, it's. Leclerc put in the 13th fastest lap on the grid. Things are
And that's
looking
Mr.
exciting.
Lapman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things are looking very exciting. These rookies aren't anything to be scoffed at just yet. I know the first race didn't really show anything of them. But just like looking at the just raw data, it's give them an opportunity, and no trial by fires, I suppose. I think this is shaping up to be one of the most exciting seasons that we could ask for.
Mm-hmm. And you, Nash?
Could not have said it better myself. Could not have said it better myself. I think I think it's impressive to have so many rookies in F1 right now and them all be actually competitive. Seeing what we've seen from some of them, like Bortoleto, who's a F2 and F3 world champion, one and done, similar to Oscar Piastri. It's really nice to see these kids doing well because these are the future potential world champions, future race winners that we're witnessing. I think the season's going to be fantastic. It just looks like it's going to be good, and depending on how much development happens, because there is a big rule change coming next year. This might just be what the cars look like for majority of the season, and it might just be this close going forward.
Yeah, I can't argue against any of that. I think it's gonna shape up to be the best season we've had, even better than 2021. And these rookies, I'm more interested to see these battles between the rookies, how they get on fighting the other drivers, and seeing some creativity from them. How they're able to solve a problem of, oh, this driver's a little bit trickier to overtake, and see how they manage to do that on track. So, yep.
I think
Unfortunately, ooh, it looks like I've lost connection to everyone. So that's gonna be the end of the this episode. Please join us again, ladies and gentlemen, where we'll be doing a whole lot more of this discussions post race, pre race. Also, we'll be live streaming the event as well, going talk. So come join us when you have time. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Who's gonna win the races, and all. And this has been the Apex Hunters.